Good afternoon. My name is Dennis Regan. I'm the project manager for Kaner & Sons. Today we're going to be presenting our proposal for the new elementary school in Union, Missouri. Our client is the Union R11 School District. To get started, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about ourselves, this company, and what we do. For that, you can go to our website, kanerandsons.weebly.com. You can come back to this at any time, read through it. But just to get started, I'll move myself so that you guys can see up on the top right. I'll scroll through our homepage here. We have, we started out as a general contractor. We've expanded now to construction management. Just a little bit about what we do for the local community. We work in St. Louis, the greater St. Louis area. We try to stay within a 100-mile radius. We specialize in educational facilities, K through 12 and higher ed. We also work a little bit in commercial facilities and for government projects. Here's where you come if you're a client or if you're a construction manager. This is where you can find out more about what we can do for you. Kind of breaks it up into what you're most likely looking for, and you can click on any of these to find out some more. And if you keep scrolling, just a little bit about each of the services that we offer. There's consulting, general contracting, construction management, kind of a brief description, and then if it's what you're looking for, you can click here to learn more. But for now, let's go and let's learn about us as a company. So we're a North American general contractor. We specialize in educational facilities. Most recently, we've completed the engineering building at SIOE. Most of our teams LEED certified. We strive to get at least LEED silver, if not LEED gold and LEED platinum. Because of the experience we have with educational facilities, we can provide a pretty streamlined approach and higher quality than most other construction management companies. Our mission kind of revolves around family, innovation, and integrity. It's what we built on as a company. It keeps our employees happy. We're a small company. Even though we take on big projects, relatively few employees. We care more about taking care of our own employees than rapid growth. We're family-owned, privately held. You don't have to worry about shareholders, so we grow at our own rate. This allows us to really develop our personnel professionally and have the highest quality workers. We see a high retention rate because of that. Here you can see a little bit more about our team. We have Charles Benjamin, we have Frankie Tejada, we have Ryan Kane, Will Morag, Ellie Chavez, Brennan Ross, Jonathan Sybil, and myself, Dennis Regan, and you'll learn more about us later when we propose the project. If you're looking for some projects that we've already completed, you can come up here to projects. Some stuff that we've done in the greater St. Louis area. A lot of it is in St. Louis itself. Like I said, there's government projects right there, another firehouse. This is a crime lab for St. Louis. This is a bank. We also work a little bit outside of St. Louis, but we try and stay in a smaller radius. As you can see here, Springfield, Illinois, Creve Coeur, and this is for Granite City. So to find out more about the services we provide, you can come up here, and you can see we have consulting. If you click here, you can see projects that we've consulted on, and kind of learn how the consulting would work if that was what you were looking for. Again, these are mostly local, but with the consulting, we do have a little bit more range since we're not going to the site. We also have general contracting. This is where we started. We perform earthwork, concrete, flat work, underslab utilities, stud framing, steel framing, roofing. We also have sheathing. This is just kind of, if you're a construction manager looking for work to be performed, we can do this, even though we have typically moved towards construction management where we would self-perform these. we're also available as a contractor. But the majority of our work is in construction management. And construction management is what we are proposing for the new elementary school. We would be the construction manager, would self-perform some work, we would sub out the rest. As a construction manager, we kind of follow a triple constraint approach. We have full control over budget, schedule, and the scope. Having that level of control, starting out earlier on with that, we can produce the highest quality. We have the least amount of change in our schedule and our budget. It's the preferred way of us delivering a project to you because we have the most control and we trust in ourselves as a construction manager. This is a little bit about what you'd be getting into hiring Kaner & Sons as construction management. Also, more recently, we started out with design build. Come here, you can find out a little bit more about that. Design build is kind of what we see the industry moving towards. It's the fastest growing project delivery method. It allows greatest coordination from the earliest level, which ultimately results in the fastest schedule, the lowest budget, and the least amount of change throughout the project. So if you come here, you can learn kind of more about what design build is, why it is more efficient, more beneficial than the traditional delivery method of design bid build. As you can see here, it's over 100% faster for the total project delivery, and you see 3.8% less cost growth throughout the lifetime of a project, which with the numbers that we're working with, 3.8% is a pretty huge number. And then you can also find out why Kaner & Sons is the top choice for your design build project. And then if you want some more information on the design build delivery method, you can come here and it'll bring you to the Design Build Institute of America, where there's all kinds of information on it. This is how we train our team with it. And this is why we're ahead of the game on it. If you want to reach out to us with any questions or comments, you can come here to the contact page. You can fill this out. Seriously, fill it out. It's a virtual presentation, so there's not really any live questions and comments, but if you come here, any comments or questions you have about our presentation at all, we'll respond to them. We'll get back to you. So just come to kanerandsons.weebly.com, click on the contact page, and we'll get back to you via email. And now we're back and we can find out more about the specifics of this project, the new elementary school construction in Union, Missouri for the R11 school district. This is our cover letter addressed to the R11 school district about why we are the best choice for the construction management of the new elementary school. It goes over kind of our experience, the delivery methods that we'll be using, and why we can save them money, complete it faster, and have the highest quality of any construction management company in the area. This is our company organizational structure. This will be given to the client. It just kind of serves as a resource. It puts a name to the face. It also helps them, if they have a question, they can look at it and they can reach out specifically to who can best help with that question. It also helps just us as a company keep track who's in charge of who, where the flow of information lies. Just a little bit about myself. I'm the project manager. I have a couple of years of experience with internships. I've worked as a laborer in the field. I have experience with Procore, AutoCAD, and Primavera. I can be contacted. With any of the information down there. And I'll be graduating from UMASS this spring with a degree in building and construction technology.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here. My name is Ryan Kane. I'm a BCT major here at UMass Amherst. I'll be graduating in May of 2020. I have some pretty relevant work experience here for this project that we're proposing. I worked for Daniel O'Connell's Sons as an assistant field engineer on 4 projects. Some of my responsibilities on those projects included surveying, layout, quality control. Then I did a lot of document control, moving submittals around, RFIs, updating drawings. I'm also very comfortable talking to subs when necessary. Um, some of my skills include Microsoft Office, Procore, Submittal Exchange, Bluebeam Revu. Um, I feel that my overall work experience makes me a very good candidate to be a member of this project management team. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Seibel. I am a field engineer with Kaner and Sons and will be on this project. I have been with Kaner and Sons for the past 2 years and have found a position in quality management. I have been specializing in quality for the past 4. I used to work for Suffolk Construction and moved along to Kaner and Sons. And I can share you this project will be of the top quality because that is what I've been specializing in for the past 3 years.
Hello, my name is Brendan Ross, and I'm the estimator for Kaner and Sons. We operate out of Western Mass, and I graduated from University of Massachusetts Amherst. And I've worked in the construction industry for track builders for 4 years prior to this, and all of my experience makes me a valuable estimator to the team.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Frank Tejada, and I'm a Bct major here at UMASS, graduating in a few weeks here in May. I worked for Skanska as an intern for 2 summers and 1 winter break. Some of my responsibilities there were to review RFIs, annotate drawings. I did a lot of submittals, document control. I approved design changes on drawings. I coordinated a lot of field work between subs, so I'm very comfortable talking to them. I learned how to use Procore, Bluebeam, a lot of proper safety protocols, and I think I would be a very valuable asset to this team here with Kaner and Sons. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charles Benjamin. I'm the assistant project manager and budget estimator for the new elementary school project. I'm a senior at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, graduating this May with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Building and Construction Technologies. This past summer, I was fortunate enough to work with Dimeo Construction Company as an intern on a $250 million courthouse in Lowell, Massachusetts. I was also fortunate enough for them to offer me a full-time position this June. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Will Morog, and I'm the schedule manager and the superintendent for the construction company Kaner and Sons. Prior to that, for 3 years, I was a field engineer and assistant superintendent at a construction company called A.A. Will Corporation, located out of Stoughton, Mass, that did work in the greater Boston area. At A.A. Will, we specialized in deep earth digging foundation and lateral earth support for deep foundation. Prior to that, I was a first mate and senior deckhand for Boston Harbor Cruises. I am from Norfolk, Mass. And in May 2020, I will be graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree in Building and Construction Technology with a minor in economics.
So here we just have an overview, kind of the 5 W's of the project. Like we said, it is for the Union R11 school district. It's going to be a 25 classroom, 30 students per classroom, single-story elementary school with brick exterior. It's to address overcrowding issues that the district is currently facing. It's going to be on a flattened site between Prairiedale Road and Progress Parkway. It's a rural area of Union, Missouri. We have it scheduled to start February 11th, 2020, and it'll wrap up September 14th, 2021 in time for the school year. Here we have our stakeholder matrix. It's crucial to keep track of stakeholders to ensure the project success. We have teachers, students, parents, non-parents, site neighbors, administrators. But the reality is it's a public project. Anyone in the local community is a taxpayer, they're a stakeholder, and we want to keep them positive on our side. Students, this will benefit them massively. I mean, they'll have the resources that they need, a better learning environment. Same for the teachers, they'll have a better teaching environment for those students, and the parents of those students will see, hopefully, progress with their children's education. Non-parents in the area aren't necessarily a negative stakeholder, but we would consider them neutral because they don't necessarily have a student going to the school, but they're paying for it still. So that's kind of on an individual basis whether they're for it or against it. Site neighbors, we want to be mindful of noise and traffic created by this project. Here we have the project charter, what we call the birth certificate of the project. It goes over the goals, deliverables, and the scope, as well as some other things. Like we said, it's to create an additional space for additional 600 students, up to 900 students if they need it. Currently, the overcrowding issue, 600 students will cover that, but in the future, if they need up to 900 students, it'll prevent them from needing to build a new building if they just address the issue that they're growing right now. It's going to be paid for out of a $27 million bond. This is just part of the projects that they're rolling out with that bond. Like I said, single story, it's going to be 65,000 square feet, brick exterior, 30 classrooms, 25 students. There's going to be a double height gymnasium, music classroom, performing arts center, all kinds of things. It'll be state-of-the-art elementary school. This goes over the software and technology that we use for the proposal of the project. We use Procore, we use Primavera, we're going to use RS Means, as well as AutoCAD and SketchUp. Our proposal is going to be based off the plans and specs dated December 27th, 2018, prepared by HTK Architects.
At Cannon Sons, we take quality very seriously. We make it one of our top priorities. We use two processes to track quality, one being quality assurance, the other being quality control. We train all of our workers in these two processes, but we mainly assign 4 positions to assess quality throughout a project. One being field engineer, another being project engineer, another being superintendent, and lastly, project manager. The way this chain of command would work is that the field engineer would be in charge of making sure the quality of work is consistent with the scope of work. Next being the project engineer, he would be in charge of taking daily site walks, taking notes on units delivered, work done, and if there are any issues. Both of these would then report to the superintendent. If he can come up with a solution on his own, he does so, but if not, he would go to the project manager for further assistance. Back to the processes, the first one I'm going to be talking about is quality control. We assign each subcontractor a checklist, no matter what the phase of work is, whether it is framing a wall or pouring concrete, they are assigned a checklist to make sure that it's done right. Once this checklist is complete, we then moved along to the field engineer, who would then move along to the superintendent to make sure that they're on pace with schedule and that there are no problems. Next would be quality assurance. It ensures subcontractors are adhering to the quality standard. It's a little bit different in the fact that it's more of a process where quality control is more of about the product. At the beginning of each phase, we set a standard to how well things are going to be done, and if it is not met, there are reports that are made in quality assurance. They will be made and corrected as done. If there's a problem with work or material, there would be a report, and it'd be tracked until it was completed.
So for the logistics of this project, luckily we have a pretty easily accessible site, a lot of space to store materials and equipment. One of the issues are the neighbors in the Oakview apartments to the east. So we've decided to only work and deliver from normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And although it's easily accessible, the project site, the main road, Prairie Dell, is also a main road for East Central College students and for a lot of the local businesses. So in order to prevent disturbing traffic and slowing down us as well, we would like to install a through street at the start of the project as a gravel construction road, which you can see here in the gray. We have the main access gate. This would be the proposed gravel road along the site. And then this is that main road I was talking about, Prairie Dell. Here in the red, it would be an exit only gate. So this would be the only way that trucks and deliveries and subs would be entering the job site. We've also allotted some space over here for the general contractor trailer. It's right here at the entrance, so we can see who's coming in at all times. Here's some parking spaces for us and whoever needs to be parked there for however amount of time. We've got some toilets over here, and then also along the access road, we've allotted some space for lay down and storage, trash recycling, and then some dirt and soil. And then down here on the other side of the site, some tool storage and equipment space.
Hello, everybody. This is Will Morog speaking as the schedule manager to Kaner and Sons Construction Company. Now, the first thing that I want to show you about the schedule that's sitting in front of all of us right now is that we're starting on February 11th, 2020, and we are ending on September 14th, 2021. And although this is about 2 weeks after the start of elementary schools and their schedules with academic learning, it's about as close as we can get it given the demands of the actual project. Now, the next thing to note is that we have a duration of 415.5 days, and that's shown by the close to 500 lines of general categories that we have listed in front of you, and that's the actual tasks of the construction project. Now, a quick breakdown example, just so you understand how our schedule actually works and the logic within it. So all the general categories like curb, like we saw in the previous slide, break down into a subcategory like exterior perimeter curb. And then each of those actually lists the tasks and the items that are required to complete that piece of the project, that being the overall task of curb. And that's going to go on for a lot of the different tasks, as you'll see following. So we're going to start with the ground phase, and that's going to start with the site prep, and that's kind of getting the site ready before we start actual construction, before we break ground. And that's going to be followed by excavation with a finish to start relationship. Following that, excavation has a successor of underslab utilities, and that's digging for those utilities after we've fine graded the crushed stone for the slab pour. Following underslab utilities, we have a finish to start relationship with concrete. That includes everything from formwork, rebar, to pouring the actual concrete and curing. And after concrete, we're going to have a finish to start relationship as a successor with backfill and drainage. That's just taking care of that slab that we just poured. Once we get to framing, exterior framing is going to follow the backfill and the drainage, and it's going to be broken into north side, east side, south side, and west side, following chronologically in that order. Following exterior framing and a finish to start relationship, we have interior framing. Now, interior framing is broken down into the different areas of the actual building, and that's A, B, C, D, E. And following interior framing, we have start-start relationships with lags, and that's waiting a couple days here and there before actually moving in. So for example, doors area B has a start-to-start relationship with interior framing area B, but it's going to wait 4 days to start after interior framing area B starts. And the same kind of thing with windows area B, except it's going to wait 12 days after the start of area B framing to move in. And this makes so we're not adding too many days onto the duration of the actual schedule. And we're having different contractors move in right after each other to keep pace. So next we're going to go into plumbing and electrical, and very similar relationships, but not a little bit different as the doors and windows to interior framing. So plumbing area A, for example, is going to start right after interior framing A. And so all of these plumbing tasks correspond finish to start relationships with interior framing. And we have the same thing going on with electrical areas and interior framing. So given that electrical takes a little bit longer than the plumbing, the electrical is actually going to set the pace of the critical path. So after interior framing ends on April 1st, plumbing ends on April 13th, and electrical ends on April 13th as well. So after electrical, we're going to move into HVAC, and that has a start-start relationship, but a lag of 54 days. So we're going to wait 54 days after the beginning of electrical to start HVAC. Following HVAC, we're going to go into insulation, insulating those walls, ceilings, and that's a finish to start. Following insulation, we're going to go into drywall, area A, B, C, D, and E in that order with finish to starts to each other. And following drywall, we're going to go into fire protection, interior finishes. Now, both fire protection and interior finishes are starting at the same time following drywall. So the outdoor utilities and paving, after exterior sheathing, which follows the exterior framing, as you saw before, we go into curb, sidewalks, and paving. Those are all starting at the same time. And these tasks have also been going on during the framing. One thing to note is that we have the sidewalks starting on the west side, and we have the paving starting in the western main parking lot. And that gets so we're actually banging out different areas of the site together with different contractors, and it's completing areas of site so we can move on and gain access roads to the site. Following those tasks, we're going to go into earthwork and landscaping, starting with the baseball field, which is kind of out of the way. It won't interrupt the everyday activity of the site. Following that, we go into exterior landscaping. That's the outdoor utilities and light poles, as well as mulching and the general things you think of when you think of landscaping. And the final note is after fire protection, we actually just go right into the punch list closeout, and that's our project complete on September 14th, 2021. And here I'm going to show you our network diagram really quick. Okay. So as you can see, we have our critical path going across here. This is the overview. We'll zoom in a second. Coming all the way to our project complete right here. These are just the general main tasks, mind you. So we have site prep going to excavation going to under slab utilities, concrete, backfill drainage, exterior framing. And here we straight off the critical path to exterior sheathing while we stay on with interior framing. Interior framing is going to go into framing finishes, drop down all the way into sidewalks and earthwork landscaping. Now, none of that is actually on the critical path. We're going to go back to after interior framing to plumbing and electrical. Now, following electrical, we have HVAC with the finished MEP straying off the critical as well. But following the critical path, we have HVAC going into insulation, drywall, fire protection, and then we're done. We do the punch list, and that's the project complete. That's about it for the schedule. Thanks for listening.
Used the RS Means cost data textbook to get our budget estimations for the new elementary school. Our budget goal was originally $4.5 million, but found this to be a little low according to our estimations that totaled to about a little above $5 million. I was in charge of the first phase of construction estimation, which included the site preparation to the concrete to exterior framing. Now for our concrete, to estimate how much the amount of concrete would cost, we figured with 65,000 square feet needed to be poured, that equated to about 1,613 cubic yards of concrete. Using 4,000 PSI, normal weight structural concrete ready mix would cost about $103 per cubic yard. At this cost, 65,000 square feet of concrete would total to about $166,135. Going towards the exterior framing of our estimations, we used the equivalent to what I thought an elementary school would be, which included in the RS Means section under offices, hospitals, etc., with steel bearing framing for 1 to 2 stories. As 6.45 tons of steel framing can be placed per day over a period of an estimated 84 days to erect at $2,774 a ton, the estimated cost for the exterior framing totaled to just above $1.5 million.
Next up is the second phase of the budget, which consists of the doors to the drywall. For the doors, we decided to use flush wooden doors, which will be about $400,000. For the windows, we decided to use vinyl casing windows, which will be about $800,000. And the plumbing, which consists of fixtures, water distribution, and drainage, will be about $300,000. The electrical aspect, which consists of service, distribution, laying, and wiring, will be about $500,000. And for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, we chose to use a multi-zone gas heating and electric system, which will cost about $600,000. For the insulation, we decided to use foam board insulation, which will be about $50,000. And for the drywall, we chose to use 3/8 of an inch standard gypsum board, which will be about $33,000.
The third and final phase of the project budget starts with exterior sheathing, which we need 16,800 linear feet of. So using a double vapor barrier sheathing for that, we have a total of $20,500. Interior finishes come out to $7,200, and fire protection for the 65,000 square foot building costs $79,500. The curb on site costs $24,500, and the sidewalk comes out to $21,000 even. Paving, we need 47,500 square feet of when you account for the parking lot and the roads, which come out to $441,750. The earthwork and landscaping of the lot, which include the baseball field, come out to $20,800, and the finish MEP comes out to $12,350, which brings a grand total for the project to $5,182,985, which is slightly above the budget goal, but I feel as a reasonable cost when you consider the scope of the project.
Hey guys, I'm going to go over the work breakdown schedule. So the point of the work breakdown schedule for this new elementary school is to determine all of the activities needed in order to complete a certain trade within the construction phase. So the work breakdown schedule works as an infographic that can tell us where we are in the project no matter what steps we're in, and it always shows what steps are to come next and what will be next in the construction phase. I'm going to take you through the work breakdown schedule. So starting off with pre-construction, that's just going through the initiating phase, which is company info, figuring out the stakeholders, and just getting an organizational chart of everything that needs to be done. Next is going to be planning, which includes making this schedule, estimation, duration schedule, and scope schedule. After that, it's going to be site prep, so setting up all of the temporary sanitation, temporary utilities, water, temporary electricity, generators, and then a site trailer where there's on-site offices for the project engineers. So once pre-construction is done, then phase one will begin. That starts with earthwork, which is just removing any topsoil, stockpiling the topsoil, and just getting the grade ready for the foundation to come in. After the foundation is going to be under slab utilities, so any water source, electrical, or plumbing sources are going to need to be under the slab before that gets poured. Then comes in the spread footings, the concrete slab, and rebar, and any formwork that is going to need to be put in place to get the final slab finished. Once the slab is finished, then is going to start with exterior framing. That's going to be done north, south, east, and west. Then interior framing, which is going to be broken up into 5 different areas, area A, B, C, D, and E. Then the framing specialties, any doors, windows, or framing finishes, that as well is going to go through A to E. After that is HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. HVAC and plumbing and electrical are all going to be done in areas A through E as well. And then the drywall is going to come in. That is going to be done in areas A through D as well, just to help it go smoother. Exterior sheathing and fire protection will also be done north, south, east, and west, and in areas A, B, C, D, and E. And then road work, landscape, the curbs, paving, sidewalks, any finishing touches at the end will come next. And then the finish, punch list, inspections, just making sure everything was done. And that pretty much goes over the whole work breakdown schedule.
So as we all know, construction projects have many unavoidable risks associated with them, but it's the mitigation of those risks that can be a huge factor in the success of the project. construction sites are always moving around. Things change every day. So you have to have a risk management plan to make sure that everyone's moving about the site safely and is aware of what's going on. So using a factor of impact versus likelihood, we were able to classify our risks and develop appropriate reaction and mitigation methods. Likelihood is the likelihood that this risk will be on site and that our workers will be exposed to it. The impact is the impact it will have on the project if this activity or risk were to negatively affect someone or go wrong. So for example, you can see that flammables and hot works have a risk factor of 90 because that is clearly a much more concern than just someone tripping on an uneven surface. If flammables, hot works go wrong, you could have combustible materials blowing up the whole site. Classified our risks into 4 different categories. 0 to 29 is a low risk, 30 to 59 is a medium risk, 60 to 89 is a high risk, and 90 to 100 is treacherous. Low risk calls for general preventative guidelines. This is just going to be protocol to do whenever you see this risk. There's nothing much more to it. This is what you got to do for every time that risk is exposed. Medium is going to be a little bit more strict, probably going to require something on our end as well. High is going to be a case-by-case basis. Reaction plans are going to look at for those reaction plans, we're going to look at each individual situation and do our best to make the risk as low as possible. And anything treacherous is going to be a work stoppage. We just don't think it's responsible to put any employee in a treacherous situation. Here's an example of some risks we have for this project. An example of a low risk would be hoisting. For any time we're hoisting, it's going to be spotters, hand signals, and radios utilized to communicate. Flagging off the swing radius of the crane will be required. No one's going to be walking under anything that's picked. A medium risk would be like silica exposure. So any worker who's going to be exposed to silica is going to need like a respirator and a fit test from us, as well as a vacuum attachment for their drill. That's what I was talking about when I said probably going to require something on our end, the fit test. Same with natural disaster. That would be us tying down everything, making sure it's secure for natural disaster type weather. A high risk would be hot works or any type of medical emergency. For hot works, we're going to require fire extinguishers to be at all hot work stations. Any details for fire watching must be scheduled in accordance with the state regulations, and all combustibles will be stored appropriately in cages. These type of things will be checked daily. You'll get written up if you're in violation of any risk, but very specifically those high and mediums. So COVID-19 is something we've classified as treacherous, currently meaning a work stop. Through the recent events and unsurely outcomes surrounding the outbreak of COVID, we've decided to suspend all work till further notice throughout the company. While we may meet essential construction needs, we just can't justify placing our employees and by extension their loved ones in risk of contracting this virus. We shall be reevaluating the circumstances as developments happen. In the event that we feel it's safe to resume work, we will require strict social distancing, masks for everyone, and no visitors will be allowed on site. We'll also be limiting deliveries and just doing our best to practice social distancing and isolate everyone from possibly spreading this virus.
So here we have our communication management plan. It addresses just the overview of how communication will be run throughout this project, sets our protocols and our standard procedures. It addresses the goals, such as tracking the project progress, probably the main goal, stakeholder engagement. Like we said, everyone in the community is a stakeholder. Some are stakeholders more than others. They'll be addressed in different ways. It provides feedback opportunities for our company kind of just how the project's going, what we can learn from it. Budget transparency, since it's a public project, we want to be very open and honest about how it's going, where the taxpayer dollar is going. Also professional development, just keeping track of how the progress of the project is going, what issues we've run into, what successes and failures we've had, can serve for a great resource for improving our project management staff. Some of the communication types that we'll have an email newsletter, which will go to all the stakeholders. We'll try and get it out to the local community. It'll go to everyone in the company. It'll be published on our website. It's canerandsons.weebly.org. We'll also have a press release just in the local paper to keep all the taxpayers, all the stakeholders involved. So the shared drive will be an internal resource of communication. That's so if there's a change order, if there's a change of plans, if the superintendent needs something from the office, we can put it right in that shared drive. Superintendent can pull it up right on site. It's the fastest method. We don't have to bring paper documents to the site. Email will be the basis of the day-to-day, just anything that needs to go back and forth. Cell phone is for more urgent situations, but used similar to email. Conference and video calls will be used for multiple people in a meeting, team meetings, that kind of thing. And then we'll have lunch meetings, which are less progress-based. They're more professional development-based. It'll be things like lunch and learns, where the project manager or the project management staff from this project will come into the office and we'll do lunch and we'll do the lessons learned throughout this project. We'll talk about the issues that we've had and some effective strategies that we found to overcome them. So again, this is for kind of professional development for all the project management staff in our company. This is just a matrix. It addresses all the stakeholders, all the channels of communication, how frequent those channels will be utilized, and what format. So you can see here, we'll have a weekly video conference with the owner's project manager. Maybe we'll do a site walkthrough on FaceTime. That could be the project engineer, it could be the field engineer. We'll meet with the project team weekly. We'll meet with the project executive bi-weekly, and we'll meet with kind of the upper level management of the company monthly, just on updates to how the project's going. Just a review of where our budget's heading towards. Stakeholders will be a monthly newsletter, and that'll keep everyone informed.